Good morning to the Honorable Ministers, Ms. Rupa Mishra, fellow speakers, and members of the audience. I have the challenging task of spending about 8 to 10 minutes on a topic which is vast, which is financing the circular economy. I'm confining my presentation to two aspects basically. What makes a project bankable and attractive for investors? What are some of the examples of innovative green finance instruments, blended finance approaches in India? Successful bond financing examples, and some sort of innovations which have happened in this space. What is very important to understand is there are two aspects of financing. One is financial viability at the project level itself. The project should generate adequate revenues to to meet its operating costs and its financing costs and depreciation. So it has to meet if it's debt financed, cost of interest, principal repayment over a period of time. If there's an equity component, yes, equity returns have to be generated for the investor. The other aspect is bankability. In a lot of infrastructure projects, the projects per se are not viable. We've seen examples from the speakers before me where the Municipal Commissioner of Vadodara spoke over the schemes in Gujarat where various subsidies are offered, how to improve the bankability. So, which means either you reduce the capital cost, you offer subventions on the operating costs, or you offer other things like offtake support. So, multiple models are being used in the PPP, whether it is through PPP models or otherwise, to improve the bankability of projects. At a very basic ULB level, uh, it is very important for ULBs to understand that as far as possible, improve the revenue profile of the project and only narrow the gap which needs to be met through subsidies, etc., etc. Traditionally, ULPs have worked on an EPC model, and that model has sort of led to a huge amount of subsidies. So I think the focus at the ULP level for all projects needs to shift to revenue generation. And only then, if the ULP is executing the project, borrow what is needed. If you're giving out to the private sector through a PPP model, again, there is no free lunch. You may defer the payment, but you still have to pay. So if you make the project more viable, more bankable by ensuring adequate revenues are generated, to that extent, the burden of the ULP for dealing with, wastewater, municipal solid waste is reduced. I hear an echo. Is it disturbing all of you, or should I move? Is it okay? Uh, I just have a few examples given paucity of time. The first green bonds in the country were issued by Ghaziabad Municipal Corporation before the guidelines came out for green municipal bonds from SEBI. This was a very innovative wastewater reuse project where the tertiary treated water was to be supplied to industrial users in the Saibabad industrial area. Then later, Ahmedabad, Pimpri Chinchwad, etc., also came out with green municipal bonds. Uh, Another innovation has been international certification of the green bonds issued by Vadodara Municipal Corporation and more recently by just I think 2 weeks ago by Surat Municipal Corporation. Another innovation in this space is again has been public issuance of municipal bonds where public can participate, invest in such instruments. This has been done first by Indore, followed by recently by Surat. Historically, the first municipal bond issued by Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation was a public issue. The citizens of Ahmedabad participated in the bond issue and made it a huge success. Like I was mentioning, combining grants from government schemes with term loans, bonds, PPP approaches are the way how you can make financing feasible for various projects. Risk mitigation approaches include either having credible counterparties like Mahagenco in the Nagpur, municipal SDP project for reuse of wastewater, or Indian Oil Corporation for an NMCG project in Mathura. For all these large, whether be it plants, be it industrial consumers like Indian Oil Corporation, etc., the quantum of water costs in their overall operating bill is very low. Therefore, it makes sense to ask them to, reuse wastewater and to support the viability of these projects. It is only in instances where you don't have a large, uh, credible off-taker with capacity to pay that financing for these projects becomes a little difficult. So, in which case you may look at models like, whether we just do tertiary treatment of wastewater and supply to agriculture with appropriate, checks in terms of standards, etc. That is a call cities need to take, whether they go to complete tertiary treatment to supply to industry where it is viable. Where it is not viable, at least do secondary treatment to standards demanded by the pollution control boards. One more example of this, which is a project under development, similar to the model I mentioned earlier, is supply of treated wastewater from an STP by Greater Vishakhapatnam Municipal Corporation to NTPC Green. Wherever there are large, credible off-takers, this model will work. So as a country, we need to do as much of these models as feasible and then look at how to finance the next round of projects. The other example is, of course, the Satat scheme where the subsidies are offered in terms of capital costs. In some cases, there are off-take guarantees provided, etc. Also in other arrangements. Uh, like I mentioned, I'm discussing two examples, one of Ghaziabad and one of Surat Municipal Corporation. Uh, Green bonds are bonds issued to finance projects exclusively which are considered green. The country has issued about 8 billion of green bonds since January 2018, which is, of course, just about 0.7% of the bonds issued in the Indian financial market. Ghaziabad Nagar Nigam was the first ULB to launch green municipal bonds in 2021. What is important to note is that internationally, green bonds get a greenium. That means they attract lower interest rates compared to regular bonds. In the Indian context, the market is still very new, so there's hardly any greenium and not much difference between, you know, a green bond, a green municipal bond, and a regular municipal bond. The only difference we have seen in the case of the certified green bond issued by Vadodara Municipal Corporation, the demand was huge and the oversubscription was very, very high. In the case of Ghaziabad Municipal Corporation, two innovations were done. One was it's about a 250 to 60 odd crore project, of which the city decided to do 150 crores of borrowing through green municipal bonds. Municipal bonds first, and then the labeling as green came about later. And at that point, decided that the balance funding would come through internal accruals. This was a project which did not have any subsidy from any government scheme. It was completely funded by the ULB. So city went ahead, issued bonds, they entered an MOU with the industrial users and Cyberabad Industries for offtake of the treated water. Based on this, they decided to go ahead with the capital expenditure and came out uh, with the issuance of municipal bonds. Since this project is of a revenue generating nature, it actually helps the city in repaying over a period of time. The initial approach of how the project was structured was to give comfort to investors in the bond issue. Property taxes and some transfers from the UL and from the state government of Uttar Pradesh were ring fenced in an escrow arrangement to provide security and comfort to investors. But it is expected that since the entire project has been designed to be viable with offtake by industrial users and levy of appropriate user charges. Over a period of time, Ghaziabad Municipal Corporation will definitely recover the interest it has paid on financing the 150 crore municipal bond, as well as give it the capacity to repay over a period of time. Another important innovation in this project was instead of putting in 70, 80, or 100 odd crores itself through internal accruals, Ghaziabad Municipal Corporation decided to go in for a PPP arrangement where BA Tech Wabag was selected as the bidder through a hybrid annuity model. The only flip side of the hybrid annuity model is the financing cost. If you look at NMCG funded projects, because the hybrid annuity payments are coming from Government of India, the costs are much cheaper than if a ULB were to go ahead and to make the annuity payments. Another example I want to give, since I think I'm running out of time. In the case of Surat Municipal Corporation, 2 weeks ago, they came out with certified green municipal bonds. Since the focus of this workshop is on, municipal solid waste and reuse of wastewater, Surat Municipal Corporation used part of the proceeds of the bonds to finance a dry and wet waste processing facility. If you look at this project, for Surat. Approximate project cost was about 400 odd crores. Large part of it came through grants. Government of India grants through Swachh Bharat Mission, Central Finance Commission grants, and also Swarnam Mukhyamantri Yojana for Shahri Vikas Yojana in Gujarat. So it's a large portion of subsidy. Out of the 400 odd crores of project costs, only 75 crores have been funded through municipal bonds through borrowing by the ULB. So this is an example where you've used other models, the grants plus Surat has escrowed its property taxes to finance to provide security to bond investors and to support repayment. So this is not an example of great viability, unlike the Ghaziabad model. Not to say that some of these material recovery facilities, etc., there are examples where only the ULB has provided land and it is, the rest of the project is done by the private player. Uh, I'm not going to the rest of the details since we're running out of time. Broadly speaking, other approaches to improving viability could be the use of carbon credits. We have seen the example of Indore, which got some 50 lakhs out for its uh, s- compare, biogas project, for which it earned about 50 lakhs through international carbon credit sales. Uh, Others, we could look at aspects like global climate funds, etc. At this stage, the project development aspects to enable ULBs to access these funds needs to be looked into because most ULB projects, uh, the way their DPR is prepared or the way the project is prepared, may not meet international requirements. We've seen that even in the case of Surat, etc., where a lot of the requirements of international certification agencies or international climate funds, we do not address at the DPR stage. So maybe there's need for capacity building, how to enable cities to access global funds and also get internationally certified. Thank you. I think I'll stop at this time. Thank you.